everybody to Dad's Watching Sports. I am Michael Draper. He is Kyle Castles. As we are the Dad's Watching Sports. Oh, it is episode 59 of Dad's Watching Sports. 59 episodes in. Seems like yesterday we launched last year. 59 episodes in. Kyle, can you believe it?
Oh, man, it's crazy. That 59, that's a big number. 10 more episodes and we'll have a little fun. Maybe, I don't know. What do I know?
Easy. I don't know about that. This is a family-friendly show, Kyle. So, Kyle, it's Easter Sunday. Sounds like you need a little bit more of the Lord today, as it is Sunday, April the 4th, 2021. We are broadcasting live on the Off the Ball Network. You can catch us there each and every single week. Shout out to Chris, Mo, all the guys at Off the Ball Network. Thank you for letting us be a part of this and broadcasting live. And we are excited to do so. We are presented by Manscaped. Kyle, we'll get into our always fun live reads featuring Manscaped later in the show, which I know you cannot wait.
I will mute myself again.
As I hope you will, because I need to make it through this week without just completely about to cry. So as always, you can check us out on our social media pages. You can find us anywhere you do social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Dad's Watching Sports. And always, if you're listening to us via the podcast, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us a rating and review. We would love to hear from you. Speaking of hearing from you, if you're checking us out on our live feed, and I know a few of you are, go ahead and hit a comment, and we will try to bring it up during the show unless it's something that we don't agree with, and then we may not bring it up at all. But we would love for you to leave a comment nonetheless. Kyle, we got a lot to get into this week. One thing that we're very excited to be finishing up, and I'll continue to check my phone as we're getting tiebreaker votes in as we speak. But tonight we finish up the March Madness Moments brackets. Are you excited?
I'm ready to crown a champion. I mean, we had we have a women's champion now. I'm not going to get too deep into that because I'm sure we'll talk about it later. We're going to have a men's champion tomorrow night. Let's have a moments champion tonight.
Let's have a moments champion, and we'll get into that, our final four, and then our champion. And again, if we, there's two of us voting. If we come to a tiebreaker, Kyle, I've been on the Twitter machine, I've been on the text machine, and we've got some votes rolling in. So we will have and we will crown a champion despite of what your ridiculous argument is for anything that you choose. We will have a champion tonight, which I'm very excited about. Before we get to that and a few other things, though, Kyle, we're talking about best moments ever. And, Kyle, it doesn't get any bigger moment than Easter and the moment that we celebrate for Easter. Easter is a great day today for our family. For those of you that are listening or watching that may have also celebrated, we appreciate you going through that and being with us on the show. And, man, it's the greatest moment in history, Kyle, the Easter and what we celebrate with Christ dying for us. And it's really something that it keeps me excited. I got a little teary-eyed in church this morning just thinking about it, man. But it's an exciting holiday to celebrate with one's family.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you try to keep the kids focused on something other than the Easter Bunny and the eggs and all of that. I try to keep them focused on the reason we're here. But, usually the Easter Bunny and the eggs and whatever's inside the eggs wins out with the little ones.
It prevails a lot of times.
So I have to ask, did the Easter Bunny come see you?
The Easter Bunny came to the Draper household. He was very generous, and we very much appreciated that. So, Kyle, there was a little drama in the Draper household today. So, we're preparing for Easter, getting ready for Easter service this morning. In order to appear clean, shaven, clean, looking nice for Easter service this morning. Yeah, I got my Manscaped lawnmower 3.0 and took it to the face, took it to the head, got nice and, cleanly shaven up. And we go to church. We take a couple of pictures because you have to do the obligatory church picture on Easter Sunday, in your fancy clothes. Here, I will pull up the picture of the Drapers there. It's a little bit hard to see, but there you go. There we are at our family.
Mike, that is Mike, that's a beautiful stash you got for Easter.
Well, see,
Sunday.
that's the thing that we're what I'm talking about, Kyle. Is so my wife tells me that I have a mustache in this picture, and to which I say there's no possible way because I shaved with the Lawnmower 3.0, and I did it on the exact same all the way around. So got here, got here, got here. So it's all the same. So I didn't purposely leave the stash. There's no way on earth I would have possibly thought today's Easter. We're going to go to church. I know my wife's going to want to take pictures. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to leave a mustache. That thought would never run through my mind because I know how irate that would make her. She didn't say anything about it before we left. She saw me clearly, but then she saw the pictures. And you know what it is, Kyle? You know, we're dads, got young kids. We're getting older. Stressful time sometimes around the house. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you get older and you got stress in your life, man, there are things that tend to happen. And one of those is you lose your hair. And well, we've already seen that that's happened. The other is that your hair starts to turn gray. Yeah. And so I think I'm going to pull the picture up one more time. I think in this picture, Kyle, what I've begun to explain to myself is I've got a little bit of gray down here at the bottom. And then my kind of what would be termed as the mustache area is a little bit darker. And so it looks like I'm rocking the, you know, Highway Trooper 1980s porn star stash. But in all reality, it's clean shaven, man.
Well, I mean, you're not clean shaven. I mean,
not clean shaven.
You got to take the straight razor. Yeah.
5 o'clock shaven. Yeah.
So you got a little something there, but I know better than to argue with Mrs. Draper. So if she calls it a mustache, I'm going to also call it a mustache. Mostly because I want to be invited again to your house, and I would like you to come back to my house in the future.
Well, I'd like to be able to do that too. So we're just going to agree to disagree. I stand firm that I did not purposely leave a stash because I've done that before, and I knew that was not going to work out well. We will move on from this Mustache Gate 2021 to the Final Four, Kyle. We had a couple of games yesterday, men's Final Four. One was a blowout. One was, a lot of people are saying, could be the greatest game or one of the greatest tournament games of all time.
But you know what? It's not the way you would have thought it would have been going into the weekend.
No, it's definitely not. Baylor in a rout over Houston, up 15-20 most of the game. And then what can we say? Gonzaga and UCLA in an instant classic where Suggs, Juzang gets the tying basket in overtime with 3 seconds left. Suggs ends up hitting the, little over half court 3-pointer, banks it in. Gonzaga moves on to the title game. What did you think about the games? What did you think about the shot, the reaction? Yeah. Gonzaga still undefeated. What's your thoughts on all of it?
Well, so the Baylor just crushing Houston the way they did was not expected. I didn't expect that. I thought that was going to be. I actually texted you either right at the end of the game or after the game. I forget exactly when, but just said, I expected Houston to put up more of a fight. I really thought that was going to be a fairly good game, and that was the one I was looking at as being like, okay, this is where we're going to get. This is the one we're going to get a good game because UCLA is not going to be able to hang with Gonzaga. It's not going to happen. And I was wrong. UCLA's got a good team. They're hot right now. Or they were, I guess. They still were. Like, even losing to Gonzaga, the way they lost to them, I mean, Gonzaga's the best team in the nation. It was a great game to watch. The shot at the end was crazy, but and you know this, if you don't call bank on that shot, it doesn't count.
Supposedly.
So no, the shot was impressive. I mean, a lot of those shots you don't get contested. I'm not gonna say it was really contested, but I don't know who it was, which UCLA player it was, but he was standing there straight up, and he had to go up over him and still make that shot. So it was an impressive shot.
It was. I think, and I was talking to my father-in-law today when they came over for Easter, and I think the one thing I was even more impressed with, and you see this sometimes in the college game, a lot more in the NBA, but sometimes in the college game, is Mark Few doesn't call the timeout there. So UCLA scores, they tie the game with 3 seconds. Most coaches there are probably going to take a timeout. He doesn't. doesn't allow the defense to get set up, trust his guys to make a winning play, trust his superstar freshman to make a winning play, trust his future number one pick in the NBA draft to make a play. Suggs goes down, throws it up, puts it in. But seriously, I know we'll get into that in just a second.
Yeah.
But kudos to Mark Few for saying, you know what, these guys have gotten us here all year long. They've made the winning plays all year long. I'm not going to call a timeout. Let's go. Let's make the play. And it did not give UCLA an opportunity to set up their defense.
Yeah.
Does he make that shot 10 times out of 10? Of course not, but it only takes one time.
You're right. And here's what I'll say to that. I think coaches get too much credit when things go their way, and I think they get blamed too much when things don't go their way.
That's fair.
If he doesn't take the timeout and they don't get a shot off, or he didn't take the timeout and they miss the shot and it's not a clean shot, whatever it is, people are going to start going, why didn't he take the timeout? Why didn't he draw something up? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Right?
That's fair.
And if he does take the timeout and they miss it, they're going to say the same thing. Like, why didn't he just let them play? Why didn't he trust his kids? Or if he takes the timeout and they score, like, oh, he's great. He drew up the perfect play. It was like everything. He was lucky he had a really, really good basketball player with the ball in his hands taking that shot.
So let's think about this shot. So, we're talking March Madness moments. Let's put it this way.
This will be on the bracket next year.
If it was in the bracket this year, where do you see that shot amongst Jimmy V, Bo Kimball, Chris Jenkins, UMBC, et cetera, et cetera? Where is this shot fall? Where does it fall in the lore of March Madness moments?
I mean, I'm trying not to be
recency bias.
Recency bias. Thank you. I went blank on my term. I'm trying not to let that cloud it. I think it's up there. I mean, the Chris Jenkins shot. Is it a better shot? I don't know. But I think it's right around in there. I mean, it's a recent buzzer beater shot that. I mean, it's in a Final Four game. It's big. I don't know that I'd put it maybe even close to that. To me, that Leitner shot is iconic. And while this one's going to be remembered, I don't know that it's iconic like the Leitner shot. And I don't know what the difference is. And maybe it's just because enough time hasn't passed for it. And I don't see it, right? Anytime you see you see the Leitner shot going into any game or any kind of video package they put together, like it becomes iconic, I think, due to that. We haven't seen that yet with this shot.
Right. And it's interesting because the Leitner shot took place in the round before it. It was the regional finals of the Elite Eight. That just sent Duke to the Final Four, whereas this sends Gonzaga not only to the national championship game, but to the national championship game with a perfect season on the line. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see in maybe 5 years, where does this stack up? I mean, Chris Jenkins won the national championship on the buzzer with a 3-pointer. I still don't know how that got put out of our bracket as early as it did. It makes no sense to me, but the Twitter sphere is the Twitter sphere. Okay, one last thing about this, and then we're going to actually get into the women's Final Four before we get to UNC. You and I were debating this before the show. Suggs is starting to really creep up people's mock draft boards. Not that he wasn't there already. I mentioned it already earlier. The number one pick, I think the guy's a proven winner. He's got everything you need. He's a great athlete. He handles the ball well. He shoots the ball well. He's got all the intangibles. I mean, my gosh, did you see the play where he blocks the guy at one end, then gets the rebound, makes the one-handed bounce pass to Timmy who dunks? I mean, that is a high-level basketball play. I know where you're going with this and who you're taking, but is he at least in the conversation for the number one pick in the draft?
Absolutely. I don't see this, and you may disagree with me. I don't feel like this is a draft full of possible, elite level, all-star, all-NBA, possible Hall of Fame type players. This is
you've got really kind of maybe three guys.
Maybe three. And I think Suggs is one of those
Mobley,
three.
Suggs, and
Mobley, Suggs, and Cunningham. And I think Cunningham's going to be the first pick simply because he's a matchup nightmare. He handles the ball. He's 6'8". He's 220. I mean, LeBron, that's LeBron measurables. I'm not saying he's LeBron. He's not. Right? If he was, this draft would look better. if he was LeBron, there would be no question who is number one, right? The fact
And
that
if he was LeBron, Oklahoma State would be playing for the national championship and not
exactly
Baylor and
Yeah, I'm not arguing that he is, but he's got the measurables of LeBron. And I think that's going to eventually win out because people are going to go, we can take that and mold it into something. It's all based on potential. But I will say, and I'm going to let you make it, you made a really good comparison between Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State, excuse me, and Suggs there at a Gonzaga. So please, let the listeners in on that one.
Well, and people are probably going to hear this and be like, no way. But because as you mentioned, Cade does shoot the ball a little bit better. When I see Cade, I think a lot of Ben Simmons. And I know he's a much better shooter than Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons is a great NBA player. But I kind of see that parallel. When I see Suggs play, I see a lot of Dwayne Wade. And thinking about what Dwayne Wade looked like at Marquette. And the way he was just able to dominate a game on both ends of the floor and just kind of flip it on when he wanted to, make those winning plays when he needed to. He led Marquette to a Final Four, which far overshadowed what they were supposed to do that year. So that's my comparison. People are probably going to hammer me for it, but I see those two guys kind of. I'm not saying they're going to be Dwayne Wade or they're going to be Ben Simmons, but in the way that they play the game, I kind of see a little bit of that. But
no,
either one of them are going to have a really good opportunity to prove themselves and probably a top 5 pick. So,
well, look, my thing with Cade Cunningham is you got a 6'8" guy who. I think I don't see a whole lot of talent around him at Oklahoma State. You put some NBA talent around him that, I think a pick and roll situation there with him, he can do a lot of things with. And he can guard the pick and roll pretty well, which if you watch NBA basketball, that's all everybody does.
Right.
Is a pick and something off of it. And so here comes, a 6'8" 3 or a 6'8" 4, like he's there. He can guard that where a 6'1" point guard can't. So that's why I kind of lean that way.
Sure.
But no, I mean, Suggs is great. Centers aren't valued the way they used to be in the NBA. That's why I would put Mobley there because he's a really good player too.
Yeah, he is. So Mo from the Up in Flames podcast on the Off Ball Network says Suggs equals D Wade. I like it. I appreciate that, Mo. Again, these guys have a lot of basketball. Yeah, they got a lot of basketball ahead of them. So we'll see kind of how it plays out. All right, Kyle, let's quickly shift gears to the women's game. The women's Final Four actually ended tonight. Congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal on winning the championship. Here we are another year, Kyle. It looks like UConn's just going to walk their way to the title, and they stubbed their toe in the Final Four. A couple of years ago, Mississippi State Bulldogs knocked them off, and it was, I believe it was Notre Dame. And a couple of years ago, I think maybe Baylor got them as well. So 4 straight years, UConn's out in the semifinals. I don't know if you had been to see the reaction from the Arizona coach after the game. She's with her team in the huddle. They got disrespected all night long. Nobody thought they were going to win. They weren't even in the promo video for the Final Four. And she lets people know. She basically says, hey, to all you people out there that doubted us, continue to do so and bleep you, and throws up the bird. She came out and said, I don't apologize. It was an intimate moment with my team. What's your take? I mean, I kind of like it. I'll be honest. I kind of like, I know there's a place for it, but I think in that moment, who cares? Kudos to her.
I don't just kind of like it. I love it.
I knew you would.
Yeah, you know me. Look, is it the right place and right time? No, just wait to get to the locker room and do it when there's no cameras around. But you've coached. I've coached. You got to give your players. Here's the dirty secret about coaching. Here's a dirty secret about athletics. Sometimes people need extrinsic motivation. Sometimes your players aren't going to be able to just pull it out from inside of them. You want that. You expect that. But sometimes you got to give them something else. And so you're looking for a rallying cry, something that all of a sudden, they give it to them.
Yep.
They're nothing. They're forgotten. We're going to see UConn. It's going to be it. Whoa. That's going to be no promo of it. Nothing. You don't even want to talk about us? Bet. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I guarantee you that was not the first time she said those words about those people to her team.
Oh, of course.
I guarantee you the pregame speech was also F them and let's go prove it to them right now. Because I'm saying it and I'm getting chills because let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. When it happened, I was like, wait, did that really happen? So I rewound and watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. I was like, oh yeah, that definitely happened. But I never, I just find it weird that people get so bent up in shape about that. I mean, of course, us, we don't go around flipping the bird all that often. It's not something that I really promote to do, but at the end of the day, like you said, if you need to motivate and you're just ticked off because you've been doubted and doubted and doubted and doubted, and it just comes out, then so be it. You know what? And good for her, and good for Arizona. I mean, they made a heck of a run, and again, congratulations.
They did. I will say, it may have been a little too strong. Hang on. We're talking a lot about Arizona, and they lost today.
Right.
So congratulations to the Fighting Trees.
Right.
Over there in Palo Alto. But sometimes you can get it worked up so much that there's a letdown the next game. And I'm not saying there was a letdown because I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of it. But you got to be careful because it's hard to get back up after that.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that. There was a letdown early on because they fell behind pretty early. I think it was almost by double digits, and then came back in a fury to cut it close. And I think Stanford ended up actually only winning by 1 point. But definitely, kudos to both of those teams, all 4 of those teams that made the Final Four. Yeah. Women's basketball, it's exciting, man. Definitely got to get on board. All right, last topic, and we're going to stay in college basketball, Kyle. Roy Williams just a couple of days ago announced his retirement. It was on April Fool's Day. A lot of people thought, "Oh, is this going to be an April Fool's joke?" He comes out and he says, "No, this is for real." It was kind of interesting. I don't know if you really kind of heard why he had decided to kind of hang it up, but it was more or less that he's just kind of tired of the transferring and all the new stuff that's coming on with college basketball. And he was kind of like, you know what? I've been doing this for so long. I've won titles. I don't have time for all this. I'm done. We'll see you later. So congratulations to Roy. I mean, one of the best basketball coaches of all time. A couple of things that I wanted to talk with you about, just kind of specifically about this. First off, North Carolina, and a lot of teams are this way, but North Carolina is really this way about promoting from the family, from within, somebody that played here or coached here. They did that with Bill Guthridge after Dean Smith retired. Then obviously with Roy Williams. And Matt Doherty was in between Guthridge and Roy Williams. He obviously played with them. If do you think that they should hire within? And there was even an article that came out that Roy Williams should be able to tab his successor. I don't really see a whole lot of that in sports anymore. What's your feelings on that?
As far as should he be allowed to coach or not coach, to pick the next coach? I think he needs to at least be in the conversation. I think it's very likely because that's just what North Carolina does. That they're going to hire from within, and not so much within the staff. Although I think there's somebody on the staff there that might fit.
Right.
But I think there's he should at least be in the process, part of the process. I don't think he should be the one to make the call, but I think he should be part of the process.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with that. I mean, I think you with somebody like him who went there and coached under Coach Smith and is part of that like that, he is part of that program more than just coaching it for the past almost 2 decades. I think he's going to have some buy-in.
Has he been there that long?
I think he came over in 2003. So they lost he was at Kansas. They lost to Syracuse in the title game in 2003. And I believe that's when Matt Doherty was fired.
That was the Melo title, right?
Yeah. And I believe that was the year that Matt Doherty was fired because then North Carolina won it 2 years later with Sean May, Rashad McCants, Raymond Felton, that team. So,
and that was his own. No, he won 2 titles.
He won 3 there. Yeah, he won 2003, 2005, 2017, and 17 and maybe 15. There was 2 kind of almost back to back there. But yeah, three titles there.
Yeah,
okay. So go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he's done enough. I think he should be involved. I mean, I don't know. They may even give him some sort of title where he's still like a part of it, even though he's not a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so UNC has got some of the greatest basketball players of all time. You're thinking like an all North Carolina squad. Obviously, you got Jordan, you got Worthy, you've got I already talked about McCants, you've got Antoine Jamison, Vince Carter, all these guys. So let's just say you've got your team down, your all-time North Carolina team. So now I got to ask you, who's the coach? Is it Dean Smith or is it Roy Williams?
It's Matt Doherty, right? No, I'm kidding. It's got to be Dean Smith, right? Like Roy, you can't go wrong with Roy Williams, but it's Dean Smith.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, Dean Smith is one of probably the best 2 or 3 college basketball coaches of all time, and Roy Williams is right up there. I mean, he's definitely probably in the top 7
he's
or 8.
Top 10.
Yeah, but Dean Smith is kind of widely known. I mean, you look at him and Wooden and maybe a Coach K. I mean, those are the 3. So I think you got to go with Dean Smith as well. Plus, he kind of groomed Roy Williams, so to speak, a little bit there. So I think the teacher is still the master in that regard. All right, last question about this. You're the athletic director of North Carolina. You know, ADs always keep a list of if my guy leaves, who's my guy? Who am I calling? I'll give you my top 5 prospects first, and these aren't in any order. I think these are be names that I would go to. As cliche as it kind of, I feel like every major opening or in talks of major openings that come up, this guy's name comes up. But I do think because they've had a lot of, it's been a rough year in Beantown, I think you got to call Brad Stevens and just see if he entertains the idea. Boston he's had a rough year in Boston this year. They're kind of all over the place, might not even make the playoffs. This would be a good time for him to maybe bow out and say, hey, it's been great, Boston. I'm done. This is 1 or 2 jobs in America that could come open that I would be interested in. So I think you have to call Brad Stevens. If he says no, you're going to think I'm crazy for this. I think you also got to call Mark Few. And I don't think he will leave Gonzaga. It seems like that's just the place he's going to stay and be. And clearly they are able to have really high level success there. But I think you at least put a call into him and say, hey, again, would you be
what
interested?
Would it take?
Yeah, because you're North Carolina. It's one of the top 2 or 3 jobs in the country. You should be able to pick who you want. From there on out, I've got 3 would kind of be maybe one more guy that I think is kind of the top echelon, and then 2, maybe even further down than the next level. I think the next one's Scott Drew at Baylor. Clearly, again, he has built a program at Baylor that's perennial powerhouse. They're there every single year. They've only lost 2 games this year. They may walk away with a national championship before this podcast hits everybody's airwaves. So I think Scott Drew is the next guy. Then the last 2 are in-house. They're North Carolina boys, and one has had success. That's Wes Miller over there at UNC Greensboro. And then the other has not had a lot of success, but I think given the platform at North Carolina could have it, and that's Jerry Stackhouse. He's one of the most popular players from North Carolina. He's cut his teeth a little bit at Vandy, and Vandy was the worst possible situation he could have walked into in a Division I basketball program. They were so bad, and he's at least got them winning a couple of games in the SEC. The guy can recruit it to Vandy. And if you can recruit to Vandy, you can recruit to North Carolina. He can coach. He's been able to get Vandy at least competitive in the SEC. It wouldn't be a home run hire in terms of coaching pedigree, but it would be a home run hire, and the fans would be excited. Recruits would be excited. If he could throw somebody else on his staff and then surround himself with coaches that have much more tenure, watch out for Jerry Stackhouse.
That's not a bad group. We were talking before the show, and I didn't realize that, and I don't have his name in front of me, Porter Loyola Chicago. Moser, thank you. Loyola Chicago's old coach. I didn't realize he had taken the Oklahoma job. I missed that completely. So he was on my list, and he got pulled when you told me that. And it's funny, without even telling you, I actually added Brad Stevens because I thought, why not just make the call?
Yep.
I don't think he leaves. I really don't. Maybe he does. I mean, North Carolina is it's kind of a marquee job, but I don't think he leaves. I'm more leaning towards someone part of the family, right? That North Carolina family. So I got Wes Miller at Greensboro. I don't think he's had a year with less than 20 wins.
Yep.
Over there. And I got Hubert Davis, who's a Roy Williams assistant, a long time assistant, I believe. Those are kind of my 2 that I'm really looking at. I didn't even think Jerry Stackhouse, but that's a heck of a call. And if it comes out like that, I'm gonna give you all the credit for it.
There you go.
There is something about Eric Musselman I like. I know I mentioned him for was it the Oklahoma job that we were talking about last time? There's something about that guy. I just think he's going to win wherever he goes. And so he's on there. And then Chris Holtman at Ohio State. It just, look, I don't see Few leaving Gonzaga. Maybe if North Carolina can throw enough at him, but I don't see it. So I didn't even think to even put him there.
Yeah. The likelihood of him leaving is slim to none. I guess the one thing I could think of is, if they win tomorrow night or Monday night, and he says, this is all I can accomplish at Gonzaga. I'm not going to do anything more than this. A perfect undefeated national championship season. Let me go see if I can rebuild North Carolina. Even though it's not that big of a rebuild.
I was about to say, what kind of a rebuild are you talking about? They weren't,
they made the tournament.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, let's go to break. We'll come back and we've got a few other things to discuss. Plus, we got to get to the March Madness bracket, the moment bracket. So we'll be right back on Dad's Watching Sports. Y'all stick with us. Big news in the Dad's Watching Sports podcasting world. You've heard us mention it on the show already. We are now part of the Off the Ball Podcast Network. We're super excited to be joining the team of great shows, hopefully adding a little dad flavor to the mix. You can check out Off the Ball Podcast and Off the Ball Network on all your social media sites. Just search Off the Ball Network. And while you're there, give them a like and a follow. You won't regret it. Welcome back to Dad's Watching Sports. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles. It's Easter Sunday, April 4th, 2021, episode 59 of the Dad's Watching Sports podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out, joining us, et cetera, et cetera. We've got our March Madness moments bracket that we're going to get to after the next break. But Kyle, we've got a few things we got to get into really quickly before that. First off, it is my favorite time of the day, and that is to tell you about Monkey Knife Fight, which is a daily fantasy sports gaming website for the casual sports fan that's simple, fun, and easy to play. Kyle, let me tell you this. The users determine which superstars are competing in the day's professional sporting events. Will record more or less than the contest line provided. I mean, my goodness, that explains it all. Right
there. It is.
MKF's daily fantasy prop games play similarly to the salary cap-based DFS games, but without the algorithms, the lineups, and most importantly, the sharks, Kyle. We don't like the sharks. They're dangerous. They got sharp teeth. They will take a chomp out of you, and they're even babies. There are several contests to choose from, none of which require hours of research required on competing sites. You can start with a simple 2 for 2 or go for the highest payouts 100 times and higher by selecting an 8 for 8 more or less contest, Kyle.
There it
Get
is.
started right now with 100% instant match bonus for up to $50. You know what the promo code is, Kyle?
Off the ball.
Off the ball. That is the promo code for Monkey Knife Fight. And one of these days, I'm going to take some extra production time in my week for Dad's Watching Sports and have like a little graphic that pops up with like a little monkey like call or something.
So
it's going to happen one day.
Apparently, I didn't know this. This is not on our rundown at all, but you said it and I got to talk about it. My wife was at work the other day and she was in a meeting. My wife's an attorney. I think everybody knows that. And she's in a client meeting, and she hears out of the office that she's in, or the meeting room she's in, a weird sound. And her and the client kind of look around like, what was that? And they didn't worry about it. They come out, and the receptionist said that somebody brought a monkey into the office building.
Very nice.
So if we can track that monkey down, we could let the monkey do the reading.
Cameo. Yes.
But apparently there are people with a pet monkey in Middle Tennessee. That's all I'm going to say.
That's, last year we went through the Tiger King where everybody apparently had tigers. Now apparently everybody's got monkeys.
Everybody's got monkeys.
It's what you do during quarantine. You just buy exotic animals apparently, which is who even knows? All right, Kyle. So we've put this off. I think this is now the third week that we've at least had this on the rundown. We're going to get to it.
But we're going to do it.
By God, we're doing it this week. Dadgum, as Roy Williams would say. Well, dadgum, we're going to finally do it. And that is the How Dad Are You segment, Kyle. And there's just a couple of these things. I wanted to pick a few out, and we'll see if we do these or not. And they're pretty funny. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. It's kind of hard to see though. But it says so like you're at a cashier and you scan something and they can't find the code, and they scan it again and it's not coming up, And and we've all been there. To me, it's every time I go to Lowe's and I try to buy like landscaping bricks, and they're like, "Well, there's no barcode on this." And every time something like that happens, if you're a dad, you're gonna say, "Well, I guess it's free then."
I don't know that I've ever said that.
Oh, come on, get out of here!
Look, I got a list of these. I literally typed out every one I said yes to, but I didn't say yes to this one.
Okay, well, I definitely said yes. Well, let's hear some of the other ones that you say yes to then.
Well, the second one there says "found it" after pointing a stud finder at your chest. That's definitely something I may have said.
Oh, I'm notorious for like having the stud finder and be like, yeah, I do every time. My wife thinks I'm ridiculous every time.
I think they thought it was funny the first time.
Yeah,
but now that it's been I'll say a few times, it's not as funny.
Well, the one that I think I look through this, and the one that I think I do, not only have I done, but I do this like often, is the "what's your damage" before looking at the bill, or "what's our damage." So like you go out to eat, the waitress brings over the bill to you, and like, "Oh, what's our damage?" I feel like I do that, or if like the exaggerated people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, would you guys be interested in dessert?" And it's never just like, "No, we're good." It's like, "Oh no, no, we better not. We better not do that right now. A little stuff." It's never just like, "No, we're okay."
Exactly. Like it's not like you didn't just watch me eat a 24-ounce steak with a baked potato and a salad, and we had an appetizer, right? Like I need to explain to you, like, "Oh, I'm yuck."
Yeah, you can't simply just go, "No, we're good." No, there's no, you let your dad bros down.
We needed this rain. Like for whatever reason, anytime it rains, I turn into a freaking farmer, and I'm like, "Man, we really needed this rain." Like, what do I care?
You start quoting the Farmer's Almanac. You're like, "Oh yeah, I mean, this happens every third Thursday in April. We just get this downpour. The soil was getting a little loose there. We needed to put some water on it." Yeah, that's for sure. And then the best, and I'm the world's worst at tying things down. Like I'm not an Eagle Scout. I don't know how to tie all the fancy knots, and I'm so bad. But when you're trying to tie something down and you finish, you go, "Oh, that's not going anywhere." That's a classic dad moment without a doubt.
Yes. It's not heavy. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
That one's definitely, but I actually get there are times where there are not fights, not really arguments per se, but I'm just resting my eyes, I'm not asleep.
Oh yeah.
Then why are you snoring is always the response.
Yep. That happens in our house on at least a weekly basis. So we'll post up this on our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. Would love to hear from the dads out there. How dad are you? Again, I'm gonna put this up on the screen just for a second. There's some great stuff in here, and we do every single one of these. I mean, my goodness, it's not even funny that how ridiculous this is. So, all right, Kyle, we're going to go to our last break. We'll come back. We're going to get into the bracket. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. We'll be right back. Coming up next week on Dads Watching Sports, presented by Manscaped on the Off the Ball Network, the dads are joined by Chef Andrew Gruel, the owner of Slapfish Restaurant, where we talk dad life, homeschooling in the kitchen, the outrageous food he posts on Twitter, his work helping struggling restaurant staff during the pandemic, and of course, pineapple on pizza. That and more next week on Dads Watching Sports. We're back here on Dads Watching Sports. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles. Kyle, I just alluded to it on our last commercial. Andrew Gruel, chef/owner of Slapfish. Man, I am so excited to have him on our show next week. If you haven't checked him out on Twitter, continue to listen to our show. Pull up another frame if you're live streaming us. If you're listening to the podcast, pull up your phone right now. Pull up Twitter, search Chef Andrew Gruel, and just scroll through the absolutely ridiculously amazing looking food that my man puts out every single day. It is awesome. He's really funny. He also really is big into helping restaurant workers that have been either laid off or furloughed, and really trying to help them, that are struggling right now during the pandemic. And he's a dad. And so I thought it'd be great to have him on. So we're really looking forward to that. Maybe we can get a recipe or two from him, Kyle, because he's got some pretty awesome food.
Well, I'll be honest. Just throwing this out here, if he's paying attention, if he's watching this show, if he listens to this show, with Jack having his food allergies, we usually fly Delta to and from LA for our appointments out there. There's a Slapfish restaurant at the Delta terminal at LAX. So I got to ask about the allergies there, because we pulled up the menu and the food looks amazing.
Yes. So we will see him next week. I think you should definitely ask him about that. And maybe he'll be like, hey, maybe I'll come by. Let me know when you guys are going to be there. Maybe I'll come by the airport into the restaurant and serve you up something nice and fresh.
Maybe so.
That would be pretty cool. All right, Kyle, before we get into our last little topics here, I got to tell you about Manscaped. As you know, they are one of our favorite supporters of the show. We're presented by Manscaped, and support for Dads Watching Sports is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in the business below the men's waist in grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, Kyle. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. And Kyle, we have an exclusive offer for Dads Watching Sports listeners. It's 20% off plus free shipping. So not only do you get 20% off, you get free shipping with the code OFFTHEBALL if you go to manscaped.com. That is manscaped.com. I already told you earlier, I used the Lawnmower 3.0 on my face, left a mustache. That's not their fault. That's my fault because I have gray hair in my beard. Manscaped.com. Off the Ball is the coupon code. 20% off and free shipping. Kyle, you cannot beat that. Free shipping and 20% off. I'm excited about
it. That's the interesting wording considering what you're just talking about there, Mike.
Left that up to the listeners, Kyle. Left that up to the listeners. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, we're going to skip some MLB talk just for this week. We can get into that. We've got a long season ahead of us. We can get into that. So, Kyle, let's go on into our March Madness moments bracket. We got down to the Final Four. We had, in one matchup, we had the 1983 NC State / Jimmy V. They hit the game-winning shot, the tip-in. Jimmy V's running around looking for someone to hug. And they are going up against 1990 Bo Kimble. Sinks all of his free throws. The first one sinks them all left-handed in honor of his teammate, Hank Gather. So we'll start with that matchup. 83 NC State versus 90 Bo Kimble. I'm going to vote first, Kyle. This is a tough one, man. I mean, and we knew that all four, these two matchups was going to be incredibly difficult. Mm-hmm. I think given the gravity of everything around this situation, I have to go Bo Kimble. 83 is a great moment. Jimmy V running around like crazy is a great moment. And I think you may have even alluded to this, or somebody did on a previous episode. Knowing what happened after that and with his battle with cancer and his speech and everything that it was involved with that, I think looking in hindsight, that makes that moment a little bit greater than maybe it actually was. Whereas Bo Kimble doing this to honor his friend who just passed away on the court, I've got to go Bo Kimble. Are you going 2-for-0 to send him to the title, or are we hitting the text alert, the text machine for a tiebreaker?
You're right. This is a difficult choice. And I think it was last week when I said I try to take away the SB speech and all that happens to Jimmy V post that game. And it's difficult because Jimmy V running around looking for a hug. I mean, it's funny and it's iconic. But, man, there is something special about Bo Kimble hitting left-handed. I mean, not even like he's up there with yeah, I can't even do it, right? It just feels awkward. And he hits all of them. I'm going to vote with you. It's Bo Kimball.
Bo Kimball moving on to the finals. So in the finals, Bo Kimball will face the winner of, and I've got to make an omission here, Kyle. So I see myself as a college basketball fan. I watch a lot of college basketball. I feel like I know a lot about college basketball. But Kyle, I've made a really big mistake in this bracket. And I'm going to admit it. And it took my buddy Jacob Arnett texting me back to be like, wait, are you sure this is the right year? So this whole time we've said 1955 Texas Western, the All Black starting five to defeat Kentucky. It was 1966, Kyle. 1966 is when Texas Western had the All Black starting five, played Kentucky in the national championship game, beat Adolph Rupp, Pat Riley, and the like to win the national championship. So first off, my apologies for the wrong year. 55, 66, I knew it was a double number. So it was 1966. So we've got 1966 Texas Western versus 2018 UMBC, the 16 over the 1. We got a lot of votes in for this one, Kyle, but I'm going to give you the first vote to see if we need a tiebreaker or if we're on the same page here.
This is another one that is it's obviously it's a difficult choice, but you're talking about a 16 over a 1. First time, never been done. It's a huge, this huge thing. But you talked about the gravity of Bo Kimball. There's a gravity there, changing college basketball completely. And I know we're talking about moments. The 16 over the 1 is a moment. And this is just all of that Texas Western team defeating your Cats in apparently 1966. You know college basketball better than I do. I choose not to argue with you most of the time over this. So I didn't even look it up.
Well, and to be honest, we put this out in a lot of places, and I'm a little disappointed that somebody didn't call us out earlier because this has been out all over the place, and we've had people join us to vote. And so, shame on all of us for not noticing it and calling us out on it. Man, this is such a tough one. I mean, UMBC, their win, I thought in my lifetime we would never see a 16 over a 1. Ever. We've seen the 15s over the 2s. 12 over 5 happens every single year. Seems like a 14 beats a 3 as well. But man, a 16 over a 1, and just the way that they did it, it honestly, it might have been a little bit more of a bigger moment had they won a last second jump shot. It had been a last second shot, 16 over 1. Maybe that kind of pulls it up. The fact that it was just kind of a beat down. And again, you talked about the gravity of what followed. And I know, we used that against Jimmy V in that last argument of, kind of what we knew after the fact, looking back on it.
But we're talking about game changing versus everybody's looking at Jimmy V differently because of his battle with cancer and that speech. You want to talk about one of the greatest sports moments. I think that Jimmy V speech ends up making it a long way in a bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think you could just look at the individual game itself, Texas Western versus Kentucky, see the outcome and I think even just the outcome of that game itself is a huge moment, much less what has taken place the last 50, 60 years afterwards. Yeah. So we're not going to have to use the tiebreakers yet. I'm going to go with you. I'm going Texas Western 66 to the championship. So here we are, champion of our bracket, the top 64 moments in NCAA tournament history. We've got the 2 seed, Bo Kimball, and his left-handed free throws against the 2 seed, 1966 Texas Western Miners versus the Kentucky Wildcats. We got a championship to decide here, Kyle. It's all coming down to this. I'm going to vote first. Oh, man. This is tough. I think I'm going to vote. Man, this is tough. All right, just for the sake of moving things along, I'm going to vote Bo Kimble. I think either one of these are completely deserving, but I am going to vote Bo Kimble and it's solely because he lost his best friend / teammate just a couple of weeks before this, and to not only shoot the free throws left-handed, but to make them. I mean, you're literally talking about a death situation on the court. Hank gathers, and he makes those free throws. I'm going Bo Kimble for the ship. Are you with me, or do we go to the votes for a tiebreaker?
That's good entertainment. Just someone saying is great entertainment.
That's right. It's better than dead air.
It is, because right now I think I could. This is me stalling. Bo Kimble making those shots with the left-handed is insane. Like, I can't argue that. But do I even want to? I do. I want to say, but I want to. Yeah. Look, 1966, Texas Western. Bo Kimble making those shots do not change the sport. Texas Western 66 over Rupp's Cats changes the sport. Changes the way people see black athletes. In a time where, I mean, yeah, we're just barely getting out of, we've had the 64 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act, and we're just getting out of Jim Crow. Following year, we're talking about an all-black team beating Adolph Rupp and the Cats. No, I'm going to text. We're going to have to go to the phone lines and have a
That's right. We're going to take it to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style. And we're phoning a friend, although we did not phone a friend. We texted a friend, and we texted several. And I mean, the results were kind of all over the board in terms of who they had faced. Almost everybody picked Texas Western to make it to the championship. There were some that picked NC State, some that picked Bo Kimble. But in the matchup, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals that went a certain way. So first off, got to give a shout out to Chris LeBron of Off the Ball Podcast, Off the Ball Network, Derek Smith. How you doing, sir? Vance McCullough, and then Jason Hitchings, Ben Blasco, and Jacob Arnett all went with the Miners of Texas Tech. So the Miners of Texas Tech, 1966 national champions. Kyle has officially won the inaugural. They won another championship. Not quite as important, but it's a close second. And we will refer to them as Texas Western, not UTEP. And so Texas Western, the champion of the Dads Watching Sports 64 moment March Madness moment bracket. There you have it, Kyle.
I mean, this one was fun. And I feel like this one left us with a lot of really tough, difficult decisions.
It did.
You mentioned earlier, Chris Jenkins. Yeah, good.
I was just going to say, this is one of the most contested and highly debated brackets that we've ever done, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Chris Jenkins shot you mentioned went out so early, and it's a big moment. Like the fact that it didn't Sweet 16, or did it even make it to Sweet 16?
Sweet 16 that was beat by UNLV. So,
yeah,
absolutely. All right, Kyle. Before we get to our national championship game picks, I got one more of our live reads here. So, Kyle, NFL draft season is upon us. Our good friend Steve Rubio with the 49ers was also one of our texters, although he picked Jimmy V to win the bracket. The draft is coming up, Kyle, and it might be possible that you have Trevor Lawrence's haircut in your pants. And that's why we partnered with Manscaped, Kyle, because we can't have Trevor Lawrence's hair cut in our pants. Manscaped is the leader in the below-the-waist grooming, and they've partnered with us to make sure you don't gamble on having down there the same way you might gamble on football or a team in the first-round pick. For all of my draft geeks, we have an exclusive, as I mentioned earlier, 20% off promo code off the ball at manscaped.com. Again, Kyle, you get 20% off. And free shipping on Off the Ball because nobody needs Trevor Lawrence in your pants or his haircut in your pants. So with that being said, Kyle, there's only one more natural transition there, and that is to focus on the men's national championship game. You've got an undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs. They've just been dominant all year long. You've got Baylor. They looked dominant early on. They fell off a little bit. They've been dominant all tournament long. They've been the top two teams all year. It's kind of the dream matchup for coming back. We've got the best two teams, Baylor, Gonzaga. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, when they were filling out their bracket, probably went ahead and penciled these two teams all the way to this game. I mean, it's kind of the two you said teams all year. Only one of them's undefeated. There's something about this Gonzaga team that I think they pull this off, and I would even be surprised if it was a last shot thing. Like they might win by 10.
For some reason, I agree with you. I think, and I think the reason that I think it's going to end like that is if you look at the two national semifinal games, Baylor they played great, but they cakewalked to the title game. Gonzaga, for the first time all season, really was challenged, and they met the challenge. And I mean, kudos to UCLA. They fought back and forth, but Gonzaga answered every time. They're undefeated for a reason. I kind of agree with you. I think it's more like a 8 to 12 point game, and Gonzaga doesn't win easily. I think Baylor hangs around for a while, but I think Gonzaga's undefeated national champion. I think they'd be 27, 28-0. First undefeated title since 1976 Indiana. So I agree. I think the Zags finally get over the hump and get Mark Few that championship. But we'll find out. And if you are listening to this show after Monday, you already know. Wish you could tell us. It would be great if you could come back to the future or back to the past and let us know. Who knows? I don't know. All right, Kyle. Well, next week, Andrew Gruhl, the chef from Slapfish. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. Congratulations to the 1966 Texas Western Miners on their championship. We'll see you next week on Dad's Watching Sports. Y'all stay good, and take care. We'll see you.